What if Deku was Dr. Eggman? Everything's moving into place. We start this what if off on Angel Island as Knuckles had made his way back. Woo, 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 woo. Is he just strolling back after getting back from what? I think he went to Germany. As he's currently walking back, as he sees that the Master Emerald in the place is destroyed. What happened here? As he rushes over to the altar where he sees an unconscious Rouge and the Master Emerald is gone. As he immediately runs up the stairs and sees Rouge unconscious and severely injured. This is bad. As he touches like a little device on his wrist. Sonic, come in. Yeah, what's up, Knuckles? Do you find a Chaos Emerald? Unfortunately, no, but I'm going to need you to get here fast. The Master Emerald, it's gone. What? Yes. Okay, I'll be right over. Also, we're going to need an ambulance. Or at least get Rouge to a hospital. What happened? She's not in the best condition. At least I'm still alive, you know. You're awake. Yeah, some bald guy came in here with a few robots that kinda looked like Sonic. Go on. As the call with Sonic had ended as Sonic's on the run to get to their location. He stole the Master Emerald. He also had a Chaos Emerald with him. I think he called himself Eggman, as she's holding her head. Yeah, I'm gonna lie back down. As she just falls back over, unconscious. This was all a diversion. He wanted me to leave Angel Island so he could attack here. I should have stayed here on Angel Island. As we go to, Dr. Eggman, as he's currently sitting back on his chair. Sir, the footage from Angel Island you left is currently live right now. Really? As he presses a button which turns on a monitor which sees Knuckles and Rouge. So they know the Master Emerald is gone. It won't matter. Everything's falling into place sooner than expected. Sir, what is exactly your master plan? Don't worry about that, Orbot. Everything is coming according to my plan. How is, Ellie? She's doing fine. She's adjusting. I believe Orbot took her to her room. You mean Cubot Orbot? Oh, yes, sorry. Cubot took Ellie to her room. And our forces from the attack on the Yakuza should be arriving back at base soon. Good. Then everything is going according to schedule. We cannot be off, even by a second. Have the robots work double time if need be. As he gets up, where are you going, sir? I'm going to talk with our new guest. Eri? No. Although I will have to talk to her when she arrives. With Sarah, of course. But I think it's best to gauge our new ally's mindset. You mean Ellie, sir? Yes. She survived, being turned into a Nomu. Although with injuries. I feel like she could become a good asset. Especially if we push her in the right direction. As he gets up and walks out of the room. As we go to Cubot and Ellie, as Cubot opened the door. Here's your room, miss. As Ellie enters the room. Thank you. There's a computer, and I tried to decorate best I could. So I put some cat stickers on the wall for you, and some other stuff. The computer has access to our database. So feel free to look at information if you want. It also contains news from Japan, the U.S., and pretty much all across the world. Feel free to look if you want. I should really get back. No telling when Eggman's going to need me. As Ellie just walks around the room. She sits there in a chair next to the computer. As she starts to think of the events beforehand, the fire, the fighting, the Nomus simply killing the rest of the people that were fighting back. And then the explosion that took her arm and both legs and threw her into the sea. If it wasn't for my quirk, I would have not survived that day. I don't really have a place to go, so I guess this place that Eggman has offered is the best I can do. I'm really grateful to him. He saved my life, so I guess I should repay the favor. As knocks heard at the door. Yes? It's just me. As Eggman Deku walks in. What do you need? I simply want to ask you a few questions, that's all. I thought you already asked me. I did, but there are some things I thought I would ask you, and some things you might want to know. Where are we? Ah, yes. Well, you don't know, but we're currently several thousand feet above the air right now. As she's like, what? Oh, yes. We're currently in a, ship. This is your room, yes. And currently, we'll have another guest arriving within a few hours, as well as maybe a few more people. Now, there must be a few questions you wish to ask me. Other than just where are we? Why did you save me? Oh. As Eggman Deku puts his chin to his mustache as he turns around, as he smiles evilly. Simple. I figured you needed assistance. And second of all, why would I ignore someone that appears at my front door? Shunning them away is nothing but selfishness. I also saw a spark through the video footage Qbot sent to me. You were barely holding on to life as is when we found you. Very lucky, by the way. And that's why I wanted to make sure you survived. Of course, the arm and leg were the mere modifications you see. There were other modifications to your body. What do you mean? Well, you may not know, with the help of some nanotechnology, I managed to stop your internal bleeding, keeping your heart rate at a steady function, and making sure you didn't bleed to death. That, and you can now move 10 times faster underwater than you could previously. As her eyes widened, I want you to help me build machines, change this world for the better. As you've seen, where were the heroes when they were trying to turn you all into Nomu? Where were they? They were nowhere. Exactly. They don't care about the regular civilians as much as they let on. Most of them, you have a weak quark or quarkless per se. You're left for dead. Literally. And people with villainous quarks, they have a little bit more luxury than the people above quarkless, but they're still pretty frowned upon. And there's no doubt you've had some complaints through your life as well. Appearance-changing quarks usually have some ridicule behind them. As she looks down, it seems like you were also ridiculed. Am I wrong? No, you're not. Don't worry, there shall be no ridicule here. I promise that. What's your quirk? As Eggman Deku then hesitates, as he looks over, as he takes a deep breath. I am quirkless. Hence why I surround myself with my creations. A place I call my home, essentially. And I'm opening it upon you and a few others. Do you mean there will be other people coming here? Yes. People chosen through a specific way. You'll meet one of them soon. As Dr. Eggman walks to the door, feel free to gaze upon my research as you see fit. Remember, Ellie, there's always room for growth, and I can see the vast amount of knowledge you seek. As Eggman Deku walks out, as Ellie takes in all the information that Eggman Deku just told her, as she's starting to see his philosophy. Like, the heroes never came to aid them when they were wanting help the most, being captured by the villains. So she is siding with Eggman, as she looks at the computer and starts typing. Eggman's research, as a whole bunch of machines, information that she would take as fascinating, as she would just constantly start to read through them. As Eggman's walking through the halls, as he smiles, as he looks down at a watch, which shows him exactly what she's looking at, which is the research he's been doing on machines. Finally, at least someone that has interest. Hopefully this influences her for great things. As Eggman starts to walk towards the control area, as then Orbot comes running down the hall with a tablet. Eggman, sir. What is it, Orbot? Our men just arrived back. Have the one ready for the roboticizer immediately. And what about Overhaul? Send him to our cell aboard. Of course. I do have to apologize if it's old. This ship was made years ago. But whatever. I hopefully he doesn't look out the window, though. As he smiles. As he walks back to his main area. As he now just sits and waits. As the big villain from the Overhaul arc is dragged towards Dr. Eggman. As he simply gives a gesture. Put him in the roboticizer. As he's dragged to the roboticizer. As Deku looks at the big villain. His strength will come in handy, especially in fights. I'm glad I decided to recruit a few people. As Orbot looks confused, a few people? Yes. Don't worry, they'll arrive soon. Everything is going according to plan so far. The pieces are coming together. As he presses a button, as the man screams, "Ah!" as he starts to get electrocuted, as his body starts to get roboticized into a machine. I think I'll call you Wasp. It kind of fits the robotic design that you're going with. But why were you roboticized that way? Whatever. Wasp, I don't know. Make sure the robots and planes are ready. As the huge robot Wasp now walks out. Sir, Sarah and Eri would like to meet you. Or, well, Eri would, as Sarah's bringing her. Yes, leave and tell them to approach. Yes, Eggman. As Eggman pulls up all the information that Overhaul did to Eri. Despicable. Obviously despicable. Disgusting work. using a mere child. I may not be the brightest or the kindest, but using a child for research like this is unexcusable, especially in my field. As he pressed some buttons. Although I would love to continue the research on erasing quarks, I refuse to use a mere child for that. As he then erases the formula off of his database and orders the papers of how to make them to be destroyed, as to no one can find out how to make the quark erasing drugs, because Eggman Deku wants to make it his own way, without using anything but his own materials and his own genius. He doesn't need a quark to erase quarks. He thinks he can come up with a better way, a superior way than the quark erasing bullets. As then he looks at a monitor. It looks like the rest won't arrive for some hours. Well, at least I'll have a team prepared to counter those fools in Japan. As he looks at the monitor, my first target, the country of Japan. As then he looks at the monitor, oh, it looks like Mark II and Mechasonic have been rebuilt. I did order their reconstruction. Oh, it looks like Beta was finished building as well. That's good to know. That almost has all of my robots complete. There's only a handful that are still in repairs, referring to the robots that just returned. And now, as he grabs a simple doll, as he tosses it up in the air as it starts to float with the glowing red gem, the Tails doll is done. Go hide while I check in on our new, visitor. As the tail dolls would fly behind one of the monitors. As Sarah would come in with Eri behind her. As Eggman Deku would look towards their direction. As he would smile, no need to be afraid, little one. As he smiles like a kind doctor would. I simply had sent my machines to save you. Save me? Eri would say. Yes, to save you. I had found out that evil man was doing terrible things to you, and I could not just sit oddly by and let them continue. So I sent my faithful subordinates and machines. The subordinate referring to Sarah, the roboticized. As Eri leaned her head out a bit. I promise I will not hurt you. As Eri looks at Sarah, as it's like Sarah just simply looks back at Dr. Eggman, as Eri decides to step out from behind Sarah. So tell me, what do you want to see? See? Yes, what fun do you wish to have? Fun? This cannot do. As he looks up at, Sarah. Sarah, why don't you take her to her room? I've prepared a little, surprise for her. As Sarah nods, as she would take Eri out from the main control room. As Dr. Eggman would smile. Now for you. As he looks at the monitor with Overhaul in his cell and Metal Sonic dragging him in there. As Metal Sonic had just tossed him against a wall. As he was hitting the wall, denting it. Is that how you treat all your prisoners, you rust bucket? As he looks back at the Metal Sonic that has one missing arm because of Overhaul. As Overhaul has special cuffs on. As Eggman and the Tails doll are making their way down towards the cell. as Overhaul starts asking some questions. Where am I? As, of course, Melsonk does not respond, until the door opens when Eggman comes in. Ah, looky here. Overhaul, who might you be? Oh, I guess you wouldn't know me, the famous genius Dr. Eggman. But then again, you've already forgotten. I discussed with you over the hologram. Fair point. As Overhaul tries to grab, Eggman, thinking that, he's in handcuffs, he can just simply obliterate Eggman. As he touches, Eggman's, jacket, as he's surprised that he didn't explode. As then Eggman would start to laugh. You really thought I would let you use your quark? What's going on? You may have developed quark erasing bullets, Overhaul, but where do you think all that research for erasing quarks came from? You may have made a way to find out how to do it, but I made temporary quark nullification cuffs long before you were even working on those quark drugs. And even the erasing bullets. So I say I have the advantage here. Metal, you may leave. As Metal would seemingly leave. As Eggman would simply swipe his hand away. Now let's get down to business. What do you want? What do I want? It's not more of what I want, but more of what you deserve. As he glares at Eggman. Yes. But first, before we get into the whole little "you're going to die soon" talk, I wish to discuss one thing with you. And what might that be, Eggman? Simple. I have some guests arriving soon, and honestly I thought I would let them, deal with you, as you weren't very kind in your other activities. Especially your other experiments. Oh, right. All of them were failures and they mostly died. Let's just say I raided one of your old safe houses. And let's just say one or two of them might be paying me a visit. So what? You're gonna have them kill me? Maybe. But first, as the Tails doll would fly out from behind Eggman, I would like you to meet the Tails doll. The Tails doll? It was inspired by a flying fox, who's been ruining some of my plans, but only delaying the inevitable. I leave him to you, Tails doll. Now remember, he must still be alive. As Eggman leaves, as Overhaul would look at the Tails doll as it starts to transform into a robot. As it would be like a robotic Tails. As Overhaul is confused as it watched its disturbing transformation. As Overhaul tries to get the cuffs off as the robot approaches him. As he tries to throw a punch with the cuffs on, as suddenly Tails doll would simply grab his hands before ripping them off. As then he looks back as it seemingly the Tails doll had absorbed his hands. As this terrified Overhaul, as he started to back away. What in the world are you? As the Tails doll walks over with an evil grin before we go to Eggman outside, as all we hear is ah, 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 music to my ears. It looks like Overhaul is getting the little punishment he's deserved. But I really should let him live until the others arrive. Sir? What is it? Are my guests here yet? No. They're still on their way. We sent a ship to pick them up hours ago. One of the ships is currently not responsive. As Deku looks at Orbot. What? It seems like I think the heroes may have gotten one of your allies. Maybe. Not 100% confident. As Eggman simply picks up Orbot. Send a retrieval team at once. I shall not have my plan delayed any further. As he drops Orbot. Get to it. As Orbot would quickly leave. As Eggman would simply walk away. Now we go to Ellie, who's roaming the halls of, well, the flying ship. As she's walking in the halls, wondering, if I were to help Eggman, the best way I could help him is the model of those water robots. Especially that, underwater machine. If I reconfigure the airflow, instead of the airflow having to go through the entire machine and not having it concentrate in one location, that would cut airflow off immediately if that one location was hit. So it's best I have several locations of air pockets for Eggman to use in the machine. That would help him for a type of model. As she's walking down the hall thinking of these ideas to help Eggman, as she sees Eri and, Sarah. As Ellie would go over to Eri and ask, "Who is this?" As Sarah would look over at Ellie, "This is Eri, a new companion." As Ellie would get on her knees and smile at Eri. "Hello there, Eri. I'm Ellie." As Eri's a bit scared, still hiding behind Sarah. "Don't worry, I'm not evil or anything. Did Eggman save you too?" "The bald guy?" "Yes, the bald guy." As she nods. "He saved my life as well. Don't worry, he's a good person." As she smiles at Eri, as she smiles back. As Sarah speaks up, "I must get her to her room." "Very well. Talk to you later, Eri." As she smiles, as she continues walking away. As we go to the training camp, as we go to Mustard and E106, Eta, I believe. As, of course, it's the villain of the gas quark. As, of course, Kento and Tetsu make their way towards Mustard. As E106 throws a right fist, which hits, Tetsu, sending him back. As he starts to throw punches towards E106, Eta. As it simply just takes it with one of its arms, as it then just jabs, having the spikes just swing even further, causing the metal to crack before sending him to a tree. As Kendo was trying to take out Mustard, but really couldn't focus because, Mustard had a gun and was constantly firing at Kendo. As she eventually took a few hits, but then would get hit by Eta, sending her flying and the mask go flying off. As Tetsu runs to punch Eta, it just simply hits, as Tetsu tries to block with his arms, as then the armor metal would just break, sending him flying back, seemingly have holes in his arms. "Good work." As then Mustard walks over to Kendo as he points his gun. "Now time to..." As then suddenly a spike would go through his head as he'd fall to the ground. "Objective completed. Eliminate target. Return to Egg Fleet." As it walks back, as we go to Omega, who is currently opening fire on a person with a fire and ice quark, as a huge piece of ice comes rising towards Omega as he starts machine gunning the ice, breaking it apart. As he would send fire, which wouldn't have any effect because of the, metal surrounding it being fireproof. As it would try to punch Shoto, as he would send another wave of ice, freezing Omega in his place before he breaks out and just starts firing his machine gun once again, this time obliterating the trees around. As he's focusing all his fire on Shoto, as a roar is heard in the distance. As he focuses his machine gun over there, as he starts firing, as then he notices Dark Shadow, out of control, rushing towards Omega, as he activates his jetpack, flying in the air while he's firing his machine gun into Dark Shadow, which is covering Tokiyami. As he's flying in the air, Shoto sends some spikes hitting in the jetpack, as Omega is falling to the ground. As it dives bombs right into Tokiyami, and, fires several bullets, but it ends up being, consumed, apparently. As Moonfish would have already been taken out by this point. As Shoto's about to send a huge thing of fire to calm down Tokiyami, as a very injured Omega just uppercuts Tokiyami, sending him flying into the distance. Objective: take care of us, Minnie. As he aims his machine gun towards Shoto, as then the machine gun seemingly runs out of bullets. Seems like Omega isn't doing well. As he's about to press a button. Wait a minute. As then he just sees Omega get covered with ice. As he presses a button to turn off Omega. Sir, why did you let Omega power off? Everything will be revealed in due time. But for now, I want to see how things play out. But everything plays out same as canon. Bakugo gets kidnapped, blah blah blah. The only difference in this verse is that I'm gonna say Eraserhead saved Koda. That's about the only difference. As we go to Eggman sitting in his chair. So how are my new guests? All but one has arrived. Send them to the meeting room. We must meet immediately. But what about our other guest? Did you check the retrieval team? Why, yes, sir. We have not found him, but we did get a message we found on our ship that was sent there, which hadn't reported back. Show it. As then the message says, Sorry, Eggman. I still have unfinished business in Japan. I will rejoin your forces as soon as possible. Sorry that I couldn't make it to your meeting. Whatever your plan is, I'll gladly be a part of it, especially if it means destruction of the Hero Society. I'm looking forward to your new Egg Empire. I hope I can have a seat as a commander somewhere in there. Anyway, sorry about the little delay, as that's the end of the letter. He would have been a valuable asset in the fight, but it looks like his unfinished business can't be too unraveling. But whatever. There are plenty more, how to put it, promising candidates that could get even better results. What should we do about him, sir? Let him be. If he has unfinished business, as long as he can aid us in the end, I will consider that a victory. And that's the end of What If Deku Was Dr. Eggman. The pieces are falling into place. Now, make sure to like and subscribe for more. What if Deku was Dr. Eggman? Everything's moving into place. We start this what if off on Angel Island as Knuckles had made his way back. as he's just strolling back after getting back from what? I think he went to Germany. As he's currently walking back, as he sees that the Master Emerald in the place is destroyed. What happened here? As he rushes over to the altar where he sees an unconscious Rouge and the Master Emerald is gone. As he immediately runs up the stairs and sees Rouge unconscious and severely injured. This is bad. As he touches like a little device on his wrist. Sonic, come in. Yeah, what's up, Knuckles? Did you find a Chaos Emerald? Unfortunately, no, but I'm going to need you to get here fast. The Master Emerald, it's gone. What?